from Julio Cruz and Gaylord Perry to Alvin Davis and Harold Reynolds to father and son back-to-back bombs, from Junior J, Joey, and Edgar with Randy, A-Rod, Dan, and the Sheriff, to Ichiro Moyer and Mikey C, to King Felix, Kyle Cruz, and Cano, to the present with Julio, Gilbert, Kirby, and Cal. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. And my, oh my, it was a fantastic homestand for our favorite Seattle Mariners. You know, we rep this team from every corner, from Nashville down to Albuquerque, up to Little Lake, Stevens, and everywhere in between. We are so grateful and happy for anyone who comes in and listens to this podcast we love so much. I want to give a huge shout out to our producer, Indy, on the ones and twos. He makes us sound good, and he's the brains behind the operation. And of course, I got to give the biggest shout out to my unbelievable co-host. This dude keeps the beat running like Randy Moss. What's going on, RG?
Give me the microphone first so I could bust like a bubble. Compton and Long Beach together, now you know you in trouble. Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. Two loped out G's going crazy. Vaden Podcast Services is the label that pays me. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. Thank you for joining us live tonight on Twitch and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on the socials. My, oh my, ASP. You can find us on TikTok. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter. Your man, Ty Talks 24. I'm that dude, RG. Let's go to work.
Hell yeah, man. I know you've been on the road all week. You're doing what you got to do, and we love it. But it feels so damn good when you have a very winnable homestand. The team goes 6-1, playing all 7 days in the week. And of course, the starting pitching staff and most of the bullpen was phenomenal this week, getting us up to 43-31. Just tell me about any takeaways right off the bat from this winning homestand in Seattle.
Well, it's always good to get back to the Pacific Northwest and get some of that home cooking, fresh off the stove. Had a great week this week. Showed some been offense has still been showing signs of life that we thought was dormant and dead a few weeks ago. Just good to see the guys finally coming around. I'm happy to see Locklear coming in and stepping in and filling in the position he is and swinging the bat the way he is. For a rookie to come in and just pick up and keep the beat rolling and act like he's been there before, I want to give a huge shout out to him to get it started today. Now, Luis Robert. And we'll get into this a little bit later on the microphone. Luis Robert did his best audition to prove why we should sign that guy this week. And for those of you following us along in the chat, we're always happy to have you. Give me your thoughts about what you thought about Luis Robert's performance and if the Mariners should make a play after him. Now, for those of you who watch the broadcast who don't live in the Seattle area and want to attend the game like I am, the first thing that Dave Sims says when he steps into the plate is, you have to be careful with this guy. And he throws one pitch, and Robert hits it into the bullpen. Just served it up to him fat on a platter. Last week we talked about, were we doing a disservice throwing bombing out there like that? And I said no. I said no last week. I like the fact that we're putting him straight into the fire to see what it is that he's made of. He is kind of up and down. But we did get some good news that Santos is throwing bullpen sessions finally through 15 pitches today. They'll probably throw some live BP next week during the road trip. But, man, just probably the only negative you could take away from this week is the one game that we gave back to the White Sox. Other than that, team's been hot and on fire, man. What you got for me, Ty?
I mean, 6-1 homestand. It wasn't a good homestand for the starting pitching staff. It was elite and dominant at times. I mean, as a staff, they gave up 1.4 earned runs per game on the week, which is obviously beyond fantastic. Your boy LG the OG posted two quality starts on the week, really being the workhorse that we rely on, including Sunday, absolutely dominating the Texas Rangers, who our buddy Mariners for Life or call them booty. I kind of agree with you. My brother made the same statement at the ballpark Saturday evening, but I don't give a damn, man. This is Major League Baseball. They still have a few dynamic hitters. I mean, Evaldi usually gets us every time, but on Sunday, LG goes for 8 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 9 Ks, no walks. This dude has had a quality start in 11 of 14 starts this season. Walter needs to be an all star, bro.
His record may hold him back from getting a lot of national votes, but for those of us who are true to the blue, hit that MLB app every day. You get 5 votes. Make sure you flood it for the Mariner who you think deserves the chance to be able to be in the Midsummer's Classic. Logan's been my dude for a few seasons. I even died on the hill saying he should have started game one of the wild card series against Toronto a couple years ago. I just love to see the guy out there doing his thing. 8 solid innings today, just burning everybody down. Just up there like he owns the moment. The lights are never too bright for him. And even when he slips up, it's water off a duck's back the next time he goes up there, and he knows in the back of his head he got that shit you can't fuck with.
I love it. I love it. And then on the complete other end of the spectrum compared to Logan, we had Jonathan Diaz who got called up. He had to make an emergency spot start, and it wasn't sexy. It was downright scary at times. I actually got in a lot of arguments on Bleacher and Facebook about how people were trashing him so much because you got to let the game play out. It's easy to get really pissed off when you give up back-to-back bombs, but the bottom line is this guy's an emergency starter, goes 5 1/3 innings, scatters 9 hits for 3 earned runs. Do I still think he should be a triple A pitcher, emergency major league starter? Yeah, that's kind of his role. But damn it, I got to give this dude some props. It's not easy to come up and, in one day you're in triple A, and the very next day you are told by the big league club, not only are we bringing you up, we need you to start and we need you to give us a chance to win the ball game. And that's what he did. So big shout out to him. And then also my boy Bryce Miller, I've kind of been down on lately, maybe unfairly, maybe not. I think he's kind of been inconsistent since his electric start, but this is what he got back to doing. 7 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 8 Ks, 2 walks. I mean, this starting rotation, they are showing us why I was so damn high on this team before the season started.
You got to give a young man a chance to grow into what he is. Not all of us were experts at our craft when we first got called up into it. And for those of you who don't think that there's a learning curve, just because you see batters come in and be able to have electric starts to their career, sometimes when they get called up from triple and double A, major league hitting is completely different than those guys that they're facing down there. So for him to be able to come in, weather the storm, and still keep us in a position to play well, like you said, hats off to the young man. We should be getting Wu back soon, and then letting that guy get back up there and just continue his dominating streak. Oh man, just our pitching staff is deep, and our pitching staff is the heart of what it is that has us with this major lead that we have right now. I believe it's 8.5 games. I believe someone on Bleacher Report, and shout out to the people who ride with us on Bleacher Report that this podcast was birthed out of. Someone on Bleacher Report said that we happen to have the largest lead of any division leader in the major leagues right now. And I like that stat. I do. It also talks about how down the division is this year. But again, you can only face who's in front of you and show no mercy to the opponents that you have. If we have a chance to knock them out and making it possible for them to try to catch up to us, I mean, look at the standings. no one from the AL West is going to make the playoffs unless you win the division. The Astros, the Angels, and the A's are the bottom three of the last four teams competing for the wild card. So while we have a chance to keep distance between them and keep our hands on their throat and the foots on the back of their head, any chance that we get, let's just go on ahead and keep doing that. We got a real good test coming up this week. We got 3 with Cleveland to see where they're at. Jose Ramirez and Naylor seem to give us some problems whenever we face them. And let's just keep playing well. Let's just keep playing well and let the chips fall how it is. But we are in a good position. I was one of the people screaming at the top of my lungs during the infamous press conference during the offseason. I thought that the pedo was capping out of his fucking mind just because in the history of our ball club, that number doesn't really sit well with us. And if you look at how many times we actually finished with a winning percentage at that, we still only made the playoffs fucking once in 20 years. So hats off to these guys for finding ways to be able to just form that camaraderie that we all said that they needed when we couldn't make moves we thought we needed to in the offseason to keep this ship rolling. And hey, we're leading the division, getting ready to get into the All-Star break here in a couple weeks. Just good health still. We still need a lot of health to fall our way. That is going to be a huge proponent of it as we get into the dog days of summer. But it is, as my man, a great takes only on Bleacher Report. I know he recently changed his name to Faleffa's Burner because that's his man. But it is a great time to be a Mariner fan.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And I have a question I'm going to throw to you. And I also want anyone in the comments of the live chat chime in if you want to come on the show, slide up in those DMs. We'll make it happen. But Emerson Hancock had a really clutch start this week also. He was obviously called up more for injury in his recall, but 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, and both of those were on solo bombs. So he was 2 pitches away from shutting them out. So huge props to him. And my major question is I see we have a listener who noted that Brian Woo's going to start in a couple days versus Cleveland. Love to hear that. Now, there is no way I want to go to a 6 man rotation the way it would be traditionally used. The front of our rotation is way too damn good to have our top gun skip starts. But RG, does it make sense to maybe have Emerson Hancock and Brian Woo alternate that fifth start to make sure that both those young guns can get to the end of the season healthy?
To me, that the answer to that question all really lies in Woo's health. We don't want to rush him back to where he could injure himself and go back on the IL. To me, he's he's almost that missing piece. If I can say that he's the missing piece to the big three that we have. And as much as I like Miller and the Miller time comments that come out, it's just something about the way that Wu commands himself when he's on the mound that I would like to see more of Wu and not so much of Emerson. Um, but if it does help Emerson along the way and it can help us kind of let Wu work his way back into it, I wouldn't mind seeing it. It wouldn't be my ideal. I would rock with Wu. Let's get him the innings. Let's get him the consistency. Let's get him back in the full swing of it. But again, I don't get paid to make those decisions. It's just my job to listen to the radio, honk this air horn while I'm in the truck, and just scream as loud as I can for the Mariners.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. The pitching staff was absolutely unbelievable a week. I mean, I'm going to look back at my notes and say it one more time. Our starting staff gave up 1.4 earned runs per game on the week. I mean, come on. Come on, man. That's beyond filthy. Luis Castillo doing his thing again. George Kirby, electric. He gave up no earned runs on Saturday evening, and his only run was actually an air that he threw. So, kind of on him on that one. But me and my brother were at that game. We were in the first row in left center, and I just love being able to get that closer view to the bullpen. And Kirby looked dialed in warming up before the game, and he carried that out and executed his plan beautifully Saturday evening. But RG, we'd be completely remiss if we didn't give a shout out to Clutch Cal Raleigh, the best damn 206 hitter I've ever seen in my entire life. To start off the week, he gets a walk-off grand slam. The next night, he has a game-winning double in the seventh inning, I believe. And so, huge shout out to Cal. He might be the best defensive catcher in baseball. He leads the league in throwing out would-be stealers, and he also leads the league in framing, stealing strikes from our opponent. I mean, tell me there's a better two-way catcher. You could probably come up with a couple, but man, I'm a ride with Clutch Cal every day of the week and not lose an ounce of sleep over it, dude.
Going back to the comments he made after we fell one game short and lost that game to the Rangers, and someone needed to be able to come out and poetically put the way that they all felt. And I still think that they slapped his hand for it and told him, "Don't make daddy look bad in public." But that was the night that Kyle Raleigh officially became the captain of this Mariners team. And I couldn't be more damn proud to have him sitting there riding the way that he is, man. Just to be able to know when he's up in that situation, you're going to get a quality at bat from him. He always seems to have delivered. The moment's never too big for him. He has officially earned the right to call himself the captain of the Mariners. And I couldn't be more happy to have Captain Cal Raleigh leading the ship for us as we make this push towards actually winning the division and then into the playoffs, man. Just man, that I know everybody's going to talk about the granny he hit, but the double that he hit to be able to stay on that pitch, get his hands to the zone, clear his hips, and just smoke that ball down the line, man. Just so happy to have Cal Raleigh. I wish that more people got a chance to see him play. I think he could be considered the best catcher in Major League Baseball. Cal Raleigh is just a man. What he means for us is unbelievable, and I couldn't be more happy to have him true to the blue.
Oh, holla. Every day of the week. Homer take, yes, but this is also just a baseball take. The guys that really study the game at the highest level know all about Cal Raleigh. The only reason he doesn't get the love is because of the casuals and the East Coast bias. That'll be fine. He'll get his money, and that's really what matters instead of fake pub on social media. But there's one thing we talked about all year, RG, and it's that we know the Mariners aren't going to somehow be the mid to late 90s lineup, but they can't be shitty. We have to at least be respectable, and that's what we managed to do this week to get the 6-1 record. 4.4 runs per game. Not sexy, not elite. I don't even know if that would be average, even in a pitcher's era we're living in right now. But 4.4 is enough to win most ball games with this pitching staff. I've been a little bit down on Josh Rojas lately because every single Mariners fan knows that his average and OPS have plummeted back to earth recently. And we talked about this before. It's regression to the mean. The guy's not Tony Gwynn and wasn't going to hit 350 all year. But giant props to Josh Rojas this weekend, breaking out of that slump. Home run, walks, singles, great base running. He has completely shocked me with how good of a glove he has at third base. Because if you've ever played any infield in your life, and the major leagues is obviously the highest level you can play in, second and third are completely different beasts. There's a reason I was at second and not third. And so, huge props to Josh Rojas on his season overall, the way he's played third base in the field, and also starting to turn it back around because, as you know, RG, you're going to have lots of peaks and lots of valleys if you play Major League Baseball.
Absolutely. And I want to give a shout out to Mariner Lifer and DL rocking with us in the chat tonight. I get what you're saying about Cal's batting average isn't that good. And I will give respect to Ali Rushman up there in Baltimore, but I am a homer and I'm going to ride with my dude on this one. I could absolutely be wrong, but again, I'm going to ride with my guy here. So shout out to the homie Cal Raleigh. Shout out to you, DL. Shout out to you, Mariners Lifer. Again, thank you for rocking with us and enjoying this chat and being a part of helping make this show a success. My oh my, it's another sports podcast.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. So we obviously know Cal was incredibly clutch early in the week. I've been happy that Rojas might be turning it around because he's really been struggling as of late. We got a couple of negatives we'll have to dive into here in a sec, but let's stay on a positive note. In his last 22 ball games, Julio Rodriguez has been hitting 319 with 5 bombs, 7 for 7 stealing bases, 15 RBI, 17 runs. That's, you know what, 3.5 weeks of work right there. So obviously, Julio needs to play great baseball for this team to go where we want it to go. His average has been surprisingly good, but he doesn't walk a lot, so it's not like has a super high on base percentage. But huge props to Julio. He obviously is a guy that warms up with the weather. It's looking like it might be the third straight year that this happens, so we might just start to look at that as a trend. But before I toss it back to you in the low block, bro, I saw this on social media. I honestly can't remember if it was Bleacher or Facebook, whatever. But someone made a good point. We need to shout out Austin Voth because he was so unheard of that me and you were pronouncing his name wrong when we first picked him up, for Pete's sakes. And he is a local guy, so huge props for his homecoming. He started out in the bullpen with super low leverage situations. Kind of makes sense. You don't really know what he's got. He's been an in between guy. Is he a starter? Is he a reliever? But the guy's pitching at a 307 ERA with a freaking .82 whip. His performance this year has literally sent him from the lowest leverage situations to one of our most reliable guys who's coming in the eighth inning. And I just want to give huge props to Voth. It's not Voth as I thought it was when we got him, but Austin Voth has come up huge in a year where our bullpen's been ravaged by injury.
And I also want to give shout out to our research department, our analytical department, our scouting department, wherever we keep finding every year, it seems one new gem to be able to add into our bullpen. We always seem to happen to find that right guy. And it was Kendall Graveman, then my boy motherfucker Jones, and then now a guy like Vol. Just again, just a big shout out to the things that he's able to do and come in. I like seeing him out there. I really do. And to give him a chance to help bridge those gaps that we needed with the injuries that we've had, with the guys who hopefully will get a chance to come back and get some continuity and some playing time before we make that playoff push. It's good to have someone who can come in and you could just rely on him to do his damn job. I know that's a football motto from a team up in New England, but for real, just guys who can get out there and just do the work and not let the lights be too bright for them. And to just come in and be able to handle his own. We need a lot of that. Now, I know there's a lot of fans, including myself, who would like to see us finally find someone who could do that offensively at the plate, but we might be able to position some of these guys in the package to go out and get someone who can. So it's going to be really interesting to see what we've done with the value that we found in some of these arms to see if we can parlay that into something that could actually help the offense moving forward as we start this push for the second half of the season.
Oh, absolutely. And there's a certain player you brought up earlier in the podcast, and this dude let the chat rooms and the comment sections on all social media platforms. Dude, this dude lit him on fire because he's an enigmatic player. He is somewhat injury prone. He is unbelievably talented. And to me, it could be a giant position of need. But what's really funny to me is coming into the week, RG, and this is what part of why I love baseball so much. When the week started, I was thinking about this upcoming episode, and I was gonna just trash our corner outfielders. And I still think that's a position of weakness we need to improve. But Luke Rayleigh, all in all has been a stud. And then of course, when I'm about to trash the corner outfielders, Canzone hits 417 on the week with a bomb and a double. Haniger hits 278 with 3 RBI and a walk-off single. So it just cracks me up. And like I said, just another reason I love baseball so much, because your thoughts coming into one week can completely transform as the week progresses. But with all that being said, that does not change my mind that adding a good to premier corner outfielder, and I know this dude on the White Sox plays center. The Mariners aren't going to move Julio, nor should they. But talk to me. The elephant in the room is obviously Luis Robert Jr. looked like a man child out there, bro.
I think he's athletic enough that we should be able that if we could sign him, we could move him to get somewhere. The injury history absolutely scares the shit out of me with it, but the man has proven that when he is healthy and he is on, he is one of the best young players in baseball. We'll give a shout out to the chat real quick. The chat is talking about the starting relievers. I mean, the starting relievers, the relievers that we were talking about. And shout out to the man. DL says that AJ Puck would be on our list of pitchers that we should target. Him and getting Santos back could definitely help us out on the back end. Um, Would love to see us be able to go out and make some moves. Now, here's the thing that's always going to cause a firestorm. I, for one, am not big on farm system prospects. I think if you could package them for someone to see someone valuable in them and we can get a actual major league player back in return for it, I say you pull the trigger on it. Prospects are suspect until they can actually get up there and perform in the major leagues. Then there's always going to be the crowd who know we shouldn't give that up. We shouldn't give that up. We shouldn't give that up. Considering how wishy-washy we were with making moves during the off season, has the team shown enough to one make Stanton believe and open up his pocketbook and give Jerry and Justin the leeway that they need to be able to go out and make a deal? Or is he sitting back watching this from his position saying, we have an 8.5 game lead. What we have is good enough. We'll get some guys back from injuries. We're just going to ride it, and I'm going to keep my money in my pocket. I think that that's what's going to be the trigger behind all of this. Do we go after someone who's willing to sign an extension? Do we stay away from the Scott Boras type of player who's not going to sign an extension with us and just kind of be a rental for us until October? Again, I've been following the Mariners since I was 14 years old. I'm 41 years old now. I am kind of ready for us to push them chips all into the table, but I'm that type of poker player. I don't really know if that aggressive strategy will be able to pay off for us right now with as well as the team has been playing. But the rest of it will just remain to be seen. I would love to see Luis Robert in a Mariner uniform. I love to see Vladimir Jr. in a Mariner uniform. Someone today on Bleacher put up a proposal where we could get Bouchette and Vlad in a Mariner uniform. I highly think that I don't think that that's going to be anywhere near possible, but we're always going to be saying this. We've been saying it for years now. We do need a bat or two to help get us over the hump and be able to carry us to what the ultimate goal is for all of us who've been rocking that S on our chest and on our hats for years. But then we come back to Stanton, and that's going to be, to me, the key figure in all this is what is he going to allow them to be able to do?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think Stanton should hit me up and ask for a little financial advice, though. I really do. Don't ask my wife though, man. She'll tell me that he's being an idiot to ask me about financial advice. But I just did some thinking and the very most basic math you can do. But think about it like this. Okay. So say the Mariners make the World Series or win the World Series. They're going to sell a million t-shirts if we make the World Series. I've seen the way sales go when you, like with the Seahawks, for example, if you put out a team that can make it to the championship game or series, I mean, everybody buys t-shirts. even your neighbor across the street who has watched 2 baseball games in the last 5 years, she is going to buy a World Series t-shirt. That's how Western Washington works. So say you sell 1 million t-shirts, 25 bucks a pop. That's $25 million in gross revenue right there. And I know I've been poo-pooing everyone that wants Luis Robert Jr. because I'm the guy that's like ownership is not looking to add a dude with 3 years and 55 million left on his contract. But damn, right there with my little business sense that I have, that pays for 45% of the contract right there if you make the moves to truly take this team to that level. Western Washington fans go crazy when we have a winner. There was Super Bowl merch for like 2 or 3, 5 years at your local grocery store for Pete's sakes. Still selling when you do that kind of stuff up here. So they need to think a little deeper than just the immediate dollars and cents. Another guy I love in the corner outfield is Tyler O'Neill, who most people remember we traded for Marco Gonzalez way back when. And what's funny is this dude rakes. He has 2 gold gloves, but it's the exact same problem as Robert Jr. is the guy struggles to ever play 100 games, let alone 150. So that makes me nervous on that front. And he would also be a rental. And of course, everyone knows I'm in love with the idea of Brent Roker because he's a cost control guy. You'd have him for a few to several more years. 852 OPS with 13 bombs on a really shitty team. Woo wee. I like the sound of that, dude. And although he isn't powerful, I also love Ahmed Rosario from Tampa Bay. 295 hitter, low 700s type of OPS, but man, what we have like 2 guys maybe over 700. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this. What's really interesting to me, RG, is that the Mariners front office, Jerry, Justin, and crew, their history tells us they don't want to trade for rentals. But at the same token, it feels to me like from an ownership standpoint, the rental is the more frugal way to go for them. So I don't know what we're looking at here, but I feel there's honestly probably a little bit of clash upstairs for the Mariners organization between how to go about it. Because I know Stanton wants to add hitting talent. He's no dummy, but he's also going to be very worried about the cost. So we'll see how it all turns out. But I bet you there's a little bit of headbutting right now on how to go about improving this team up at the top of the organization.
To be a fly on the wall in those meetings and just kind of see what it is that they're looking at and if we should be prepared for heartbreak or if we're actually going to watch them go all in for it. They promised us they would do this. The time happens to be right. I think that we need to go in there and pull that trigger. My man DL following us in the chat tonight talks about Adam Jones for Eric Bedard is the worst trade ever. I'll give you the worst trade that we've ever made is when we let go of Jason Varitek and Derek Lowe for Heathcliff motherfucking Slocum. Look that shit up. That's the worst trade that we've ever made. Again, shout out to y'all following us along with the chat tonight. Oh my, it's another sports podcast.
Man, that trade will always be a thorn in my ass. And what's so funny too is as we found out, Cal Raleigh's favorite player as a youngster was Jason Varitek. The Mariners should be looking at the second coming of Varitek, yet we traded him in that horrible deal. I want to give a quick shout out to DL again. He said in division trades just never happen. And he is pretty spot on with that, especially for the Mariners. They call him Trader Jerry for a reason. This guy trades as much as anyone in baseball. And I mentioned this last week because just on the surface, Luis Renfigo might be one of my favorite trade targets, but we could just cross him off right now, put a big old X across him because the only team Jerry has never traded with is the Anaheim Angels. There's that much bad blood from when they divorced all those years ago. And then we had a really interesting question from Sunday Evening Media. Do we send Locklear back down when Ty France comes back? That one is really tough for me because not only has Ty Locklear come in and had some pretty professional at bats. He's already hit 2 home runs. I love the fact that he can drive the ball to the right center power alley, which is extremely difficult for any right hander. But this dude is making web gems on the reg at first base, including a game saving type of play on the last out from Saturday night. So, I am still a Mitch Garver believer, especially because he walks a decent amount. Albuquerque's finest, stand up, 2-year contract too. So when you know that there's 2 years left or more on a deal, you kind of need and want to figure it out. But there's no time for soldiers that can't fight right now. And so to answer Sunday Media's question, I might limit more playing time for Garver if it comes down to it and put Ty at DH more. This is nothing personal. Y'all know if you listen, I still believe in Garver, but this team right now, we don't got time to drag people along. Either you're hitting or you're not, and it's really that simple.
I don't know if I could put it any better myself, man. How as that saying goes, rising tide raises all ships. So when he comes back, if the best thing for us moving forward is to limit Garver, put Ty at DH, let Locklear keep that hot bat in. If we're not going to make any moves to try to do anything else to boost the lineup, I might think that that's the way to go as well, too, man. And I'm a Garver boy. Of course, he's from my home city. It makes me extra proud to see somebody who walked the same streets as I did as a kid, wearing a Mariner uniform. And even though his batting average isn't great, to see the way that he has performed for us, he does seem to be a little bit more healthier this year than he has been in years past. But again, we're in the business of trying to win baseball games and ultimately pursue championships. And if not having his struggling bat in the lineup gives Locklear a chance to stay up and stay hot. And with the investment that we've already made in the tie, to have him be able to be a part of it of this as well too. I'll see you at Bob's Burgers when you come home, Mr. Garver.
Well, and here's the thing with rookies that get called up mid-season, because him and Ryan Bliss are both injury replacements. We all know that I love both of those players. I think they have starting potential in this league. But my favorite player on the team, Ryan Bliss, hit a putrid 125 and struck out 8 times in his last 7 days, even though he still makes impact plays with the glove. I can't remember. It might go back to Joey Cora, even, where I've seen a Mariners second baseman that has so much range going towards their right hand up the middle. Fantastic. I haven't seen range like that since I was a kid on this damn ball club. But the elephant in the room I was alluding to earlier is JP is at 201 for the season. Demo is down to 203 for the season. The middle of our lineup is not giving us shit right now, man. It's really worrisome. And so it's funny that I sometimes throw Jorge Polanco around in trade talks, and that's just the contract situation and knowing our ownership. They don't want to bring in a ton of money without getting rid of money. In a perfect world on a video game, you might send out Mitch Haniger. God bless his soul. We know he's a fan favorite and we all love him. But the dude has a $17 million player option next year. And the way he's playing ball, he'd be an insane man to turn that money down next year. Now, Polanco has a $13 million team option next year. And RG, I know you pay a lot of attention to NBA, and in that sport, expiring contracts are worth gold to certain rebuilding teams to kind of reset what they're doing in the off season. But even though Polanco's below the Mendoza line right now as well, he's supposed to come back a week, 8 days, something like that. June 24th is his ETA. And the way the middle of our lineup is hitting right now, we might need Polanco. And what sucks too, dude, before I pass it back to you, is the just the sheer number of hitters at corner outfield, first base, DH. There's just so many more of those dudes compared to middle infielders that it's going to be really hard, in my opinion, to make a trade for a guy up the middle just by sheer numbers, man.
for you to be able to make a trade that makes financial sense, for us to be able to stay on par with what Stanton is and isn't willing to do, and also find us someone that is going to come in, stay healthy, give us the production we're looking for. If we were able to make those type of decisions, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this podcast. We'd be sitting in an office somewhere, being able to try to figure that out. It's just so tough to work that intricate balance of not being caught trying to play video game transactions, to actually find something that works, to not be able to leave the cupboard empty, and to please a starving fan base. Those are two seats that I would not want to be in their position. But we've been promised that when the time was right, they would pull the trigger to try to get us over that hump. I think that that time is now. How it's going to work out? Again, if I could tell you, I wouldn't be here in my mobile studio calling doing this chat tonight from Dyersburg, Tennessee. But we need more production. That's going to be obvious. When Polanco comes back, it would be nice to see him returning to the doubles machine he was in Minnesota. But we always seem to run that risk whenever we make a free agent move that the guy gets there and is half of what he is, or what it was before he showed up. Maybe we put him on the Cano plan and start letting him shoot himself up in the ass and just be able to cover in production that way. Just whatever it takes at this point. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care who, I don't care what, but the time is now. I don't care how they make these moves. I don't care who has to go, who has to sit, but we need people to come in and start doing their damn job. I want us to win this division. I would love to see us be able to get a couple games from Cleveland this week just to keep the pressure on their necks. I mean, we know we haven't reached the middle of July yet, but it's us in Cleveland who are going to battle to see if we can stay out of the opening round of the playoffs. Would love to see us be able to get some moral victories back against them and a big morale boost as Cleveland kind of has their foot on our necks in recent matchups. Would love to be able to see us go up there and get some wins against them as we get ready to transition into going to play the Twins in Tampa Bay as we get ready to close out June. But again, just those type of decisions are tough considering who we have to work with, what we're trying to say, what we're trying to bring in to keep the fan base from burning down all the cute shit that they just put in the ballpark, and to please the owner who doesn't really seem that he's that damn interested in how the team is progressing as long as it's putting money into his bottom line.
Shit. All I know is when I was at the ballpark on Saturday, I couldn't believe the amount of alcohol sales at that ball game, dude. I mean, everybody double fisting, going back. Center field, we're joking around that half the people are just because we were right above it where we were sitting first row. You know, a ton of people are just getting trash, spending major money because it's like $17 for a good big beer. So this money is out there, Stanton. I know you're hiding receipts on the fans right now. I know you're hiding them receipts because I saw it with my own two eyes. I mean, for Pete's sakes, bro, it was so funny. It was in the mid to late innings, and you know how Julio always tosses the warm up ball to the fans? And he tosses one up to the center field area where everyone's standing drinking, and five people miss it bobbling it, and it hits a lady right in the side of the head who's turned around, has no idea. She kind of crumples down and grabs her head. People need to make sure she's okay. And then the last few innings, when people in center are trying to get Julio to toss him the ball, he's like, nah, I see what's going on out there. We're tossing it to right field where someone ain't gonna take one in the noggin. But damn it, it's just a well-winded way of saying that the money is flowing in that ballpark right now. Put a little back into the team, Mr. Stanton. Please, please. We're little Timmy holding our hats out right now, man. And you said it, this team's ready to go. We got a few pitchers who are going to break the bank. I don't know who they keep, who they let go, but even the Yankees or Dodgers wouldn't be able to afford the entire starting pitching staff that we've assembled once they all make it to free agency. So tough choices will have to be made. And when you got these guys, man, let's go for it. Nobody can tell me this isn't the best pitching staff the Mariners have ever had because it's freaking electric.
Man, they're doing big things, man. They're doing big things. I want to give a shout out to Texas Power Ranger who joined us in the chat. Rangers fan talks about how we beat him to a pulp, the pitching staff, and that, you know, let me get back so I don't misquote him. Good series, y'all beat us to a pulp. Those starting pitchers are wonderful, y'all. Rangers fan. For real, dog. This is the show by fans. That's for fans. We don't care who you cheer for. We all just love to talk to our favorite sport, which is baseball, and just let us always get in and have a good conversation. Thanks for you for being a real one and coming in and showing some love to us, man. We're trying to get where you guys finished at last year, and that's bringing home I don't think they call it the Commissioner's Trophy anymore, do they? Either way, that's what we're trying to do is being the last team that holds that thing at the end of the year. And shout out to you guys for being able to do it. As much as I hate Texas, um, if there's any team in Texas I have to see winning, I would rather be you than those bastards down in Houston. So again, man, thanks for being with us and joining with us on the chat tonight. Let's see here. Mariners Lifer says Canzone, Julio, Raleigh is a solid outfield. We are honestly so solid everywhere except interior infield and Bliss could get hot. JP isn't a big worry for me. I kind of like where he's sitting at. You know, JP's back and come around. We are still. I guess we're in a good position to be able to have these problems, but we're talking about how to be able to fill things, what we need to get us over the hump, and it's still not even the end of June, and we have an 8.5 game lead. I think we're in a great spot, and what a great time to be a Mariner fan. Katie Matsumoto, I think you might have heard of her once or twice before. She says, except for Ohio State, RG hates when people cheer for Ohio State. I do. I do. But we're not going to turn this into an Ohio State bash fest until later on in the season we get closer to football.
Holla, holla. I mean, it is fun. It is really fun right now. I mean, to think that we started out 6-10, we are now 12 games above 500. Everybody loves that sweet home cooking 27-12 at home. I'd have to look it up, but I believe we were pretty close to 500 at home last year. And it's critical that you kick ass at home. It really is. We are still only 16-19 on the road. We have a long 3 series East Coast road trip coming up. Like you referenced, Cleveland has had a fantastic season so far. Ramirez is one of our favorite players in the league. Just love that dude. But that one will be really tough. But hey, if you got starting pitching, you got a chance in any ball game. But then we got to go down to Florida and do some work, man. Tampa Bay, I always feel is pretty dangerous. I feel that some of their hitters have underachieved this year, so I still think they're dangerous. But let's do what we can against Cleveland, but we absolutely need to do work in the state of Florida. And hey, maybe bring back a hitter or two from that state on the long ass flight home to Seattle, man.
Hey, by any means necessary, let's get it done. Let's get it done. 27-12 on the road, 16-19 away from home, 13-17 against sub 500 teams. Here's the stat that I'm looking at that pops out to me on this page here. A few weeks ago, I was bitching about us having a -7 run differential, the worst among all division leaders in baseball. Now we still haven't bridged the gap to where, let's say, the Yankees are at with a plus 124, but we've gone from that -7 to a plus 19. So the offense is doing their thing. Our pitching staff is being able to come around. We are showing signs of life that we are going to make this a very, very interesting push for the pennants this year. I love where we're at. We are obviously a couple pieces away. Let's hope that the powers that be have the same confidence that we do and are willing to make a move to help ensure that the 2024 Mariners can go down and make some history. I'm tired of us being the only team that has never played for the dance. Let's make it. Let's make this year the year. Let's make this year the year. Again, I don't care who you have to move, who you have to replace, who just just do something to try to help us actually get it there this year. And once we get to the end of July, do me a favor, don't make any fucking trades to get rid of someone who the team may love and could rally around. We've seemed to have that seems to be what we end up doing is we're going to make a move for the future once we get to the once we get to the end of July. Let's not do that this year. Make a play to help this team make the push. That's what we all want to see. We just hope that you want to see it for us as well too.
Hell yeah. Man, I couldn't have said that any better myself. Eloquent RG out here, man. And I just want to give a huge shout out for y'all that don't know. RG is on the road providing the goods and services to all of us Americans. And this dude is so damn dedicated that it don't matter what truck stop, what parking lot, where he is in this country, he's going to hop on and make it happen. So huge shout out there. And on a lighter note, man, being at that game Saturday night, though, everyone's high fiving in the ninth inning before it even started. You think you have it all won, all wrapped up, 7-1 victory. Holy shit, bro! I don't care how expensive it is. I'll be happy to get the Uber for Bizardo to go back to Tacoma.
Oh man, do we need to start a GoFundMe to help fund that up? Oh man.
Nah, I got it, man. I got it. What's really funny too is just kind of going in depth here is there's always different perceptions when you're at the ballpark versus watching it on TV because I saw a few people on Bleacher and Facebook talking about how a lot of those were lucky hits. And from my viewpoint at the ballpark, I feel that every single ball put in play was absolutely ripped, including the two outs he got. So I don't actually know. I would have to see the facts, but it's funny to me the way your perception can change just on how you're viewing or listening to the game. But that's the fun of sports. Like you said, we banter, we talk shit, and that's what makes this fun.
Sure does, sure does. Again, Vaden Podcast Services presents My Oh My, it's another sports podcast. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials. My Oh My ASP. You can find us live each and every week on YouTube and Twitch. You can follow us on our socials on Facebook, Instagram, as well as TikTok for some up to dates. You can see some of the footage that Ty took from the game this week coming up on some of those medias. Man, and just again, we thank you. We do this for you, and we're happy for those of you that are rocking with us. Hop back to the chat here for a little bit, interact with the people who have been rocking with us. Let's see here. Sunday Evening Media says everyone hates on Ohio State except for Tyler. Well, Tyler's kind of obligated by marriage to have to rock with that. Oh,
That's why. That's why.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think we are a really good place and don't have to be desperate in any trade. I think you're right as well too. There, Mariner Lifer. I don't think we have to go absolute. We're not. I don't think we have to blow up the ship or mortgage the future to be able to find what we need. But I do think that we do need to make a move. This is our time. This is our year. Why not get it done? Homie DL says that Cole Young and Ford aren't that far away, and they're really not. Like I said, I said a couple weeks ago, what I like about Henry Ford is the experience that he has from playing on the British national team. So he's gotten to go up and showcase his best skills against guys that are actually playing at the major league level. So I think that makes him a little bit more prepared than some of the other guys, considering what he gets to do in the World Baseball Classic and the Olympics getting ready to come up. Um, let's see here. Texas Power Ranger, good luck this year. I will subscribe on here. Hey, man, we appreciate you. For those of you who are rocking with us, we do got some news to share. See if you can go on ahead and help us out. On our Facebook page, My Oh My ASP, we are giving away a Julio Rodriguez Funko to anyone who's willing to help us spread the word about this Mariners podcast. We do dabble into other sports, but our bread and butter is talking about the one thing that we do love, and that's those two of the blue guys up there in Seattle. For those of you who can follow us on Facebook, you go out and share that with 5 people. Get them to like us, get them to listen to us. Whether you listen to us live or you download the show on either Spotify or Apple Music when it becomes available later on in the week, we are going to run it until the end of the All-Star break. Where if you can help us grow our listening base and our subscriber page, we are going to give away a Julio Rodriguez Funko. And again, that's just our love and support for you guys for helping us draw attention to this page and let Mariners fans know you don't have to go after the guys who are paid a whole bunch of money to not care about the Mariners. It's just a talking point for them. We actually love the team that we're supporting. We know that you love the team that we're supporting. And hey, fans are the ones who make the world go around. So just help come be a part of the show. Mariners Flattery, will there be a good amount of NFL talk in the NFL season? I'll tell you this, NFL is probably our most testy subject. It's probably our most testy subject just because I get a lot of hate for being an Eagles fan. Drew Lock got lucky and got one win on a Monday night while everybody was asleep. But yeah, man, anything that's sports topic, we're always here to be able to do it, yo. I'm a Texans fan. Would like to hear what you think about him. I think that CJ Stroud might be the next. He might be next. But again, we'll get into football. We get a little bit closer to us. We're just gonna focus on baseball. Ty, what you got for us?
Absolutely. And we agree a lot more when we talk baseball because we're all true to the blue, diehard Mariners fans. We ride or die with this squad in the Pacific Northwest. But there's a lot more banter when we get to the football season because all of us like different teams. Our producer, Indy, Vaden Podcast Services, the absolute stud and brains of the operation. Me and him both ride with the Seahawks. But yeah, when it comes to football, we're all on different sides of this thing. So we'll get at each other a little bit. And Texas Power Ranger, you're telling me that we can trade you Cal and LG to get some cash? Bro, unless you're allowing me to trade bank accounts with Jerry frickin' Jones, hell nah, bro.
Man, man. It would be nice to have his money just but what would you do? 24-hour access to Jerry Jones's bank account and you could do anything without getting arrested for it. What would you do?
Oh man. Well, for starters, I'm buying my own personal island. And no, I promise, it ain't gonna be no Epstein Island. I don't ride like that. I don't ride like that. But man, could you imagine having your own tropical paradise to get away from all the nonsense and bullshit going on in the world? I'd have enough money. I'd be able to get the satellite going. I'd be able to rep my M's, but I'd be doing it from a distance somewhere nice, sunny, with some beautiful light blue water, bro.
Man, see, that's something smart, articulate, and well thought out. Me, I'm a degenerate. I'm buying a Kardashian, some Jordans, and tickets to the Super Bowl. Uh,
You said it. I still have never had my pair of Jordans I wanted my whole life. So I guess I would have to definitely put that on the list too.
yeah, man. Oh man, for those of you rocking with us in the chat, we're happy to have you. Don't forget to join us each and every weekend as we begin to do this live and pick up more as the season keeps going along and the Mariners make that push to the All-Star break. And then, hey, we're going to have fun as we ride out through the last 3 months to try to get over the hump and get into the playoffs. My man, Ty, you got any closing thoughts for us tonight?
I am absolutely jacked about the Mariners. We still haven't even hit our stride completely yet, which is really scary for the rest of baseball. We aren't close to our peak. We got underachieving hitters who will turn it around. I do believe we are going to get some form of reinforcements from the outside, but mainly a huge shout out to all the listeners. This is the People Show. We do it for the people. We are the people. So thank you so much to every one of y'all. Slide up in the DMs. Join us live every Sunday night because we absolutely love having you. And it warms my heart to have more people to debate and talk some shit with about the fun thing that we follow, the world of sports.
Absolutely, man. I don't think that there's any more uniting factor that we have that brings us all together more than sports. Good, healthy debate, good, healthy arguments, and really, we just want to see our teams win. I enjoy being a part of it. I thank you for what you do as well, and for the energy you help bring to us. For Vaden Podcast Services, big shout out to our super producer Indy, rocking with us all the way in Nashville. Big shout out to the people who are letting me use this internet signal so I can help be on the road, be on the live with y'all tonight here in Dyersburg, Tennessee. Man, a big shout out to the homie Ty Talks 24 up there representing the Pacific Northwest. A big shout out to our social media director, Katie Masamato, as well, too, for helping keeping everybody engaged with what we got coming up with the show. The episodes are always available to download off of Spotcast and Apple Music around Tuesday, Wednesday, at your earliest convenience for those of you who aren't allowed to, for those of you who can't make it and join us live here on Twitch and YouTube. But again, we do this for you. Thank you for being a part of us, and thank you for the energy that you put into it. A big shout out to our man Texas Power, DL, Mariner Lifer. I saw the homie Paul was in there. Sunday Evening Media was chopping it up with us earlier. There was another dude who was in here earlier chopping it up with us, and we want to give him a shout out as well too. 2K Red Eyes, thanks for being with us. Paul Snyder, as always, joining us, man. Just you guys make this show interesting. We enjoy the banner. We thank you for all that you do for Vaden Podcast Services, super producer Andy, Ty Talks 24. I'm your man RG. We thank you for joining us each and every week for another episode of My Oh My. It's another sports podcast.